We already did create for this view before, but today we will start by creating the list, and we will check how we can navigate for details screen. And here with the basic landmark detail view setup, you need to provide a way for the users to see a full list of landmarks. So today we will learn how we can build the list and how we can navigate for details screen about each location. You will create views that can show information about any landmark and dynamically generate a scrolling list that the user can tap to see detail view for each landmark. Okay, perfect. And will help us also to check different device sizes. Download the project to start this project. Follow steps below. Okay, we can download the project file to just import the images. Let me check here what's inside this project. Okay, creating and combining a view. This project we already created before, and there are images here, new images, and this empty project. Let's trust and open this project. Here what we can see, there are already built in landmark list, and I think a whole project regarding how to build the list and navigation already existing here. We can try to run on iPhone 15 Pro Max, and we can check what's inside this project. We already created the map view before, and the circle image, we created these two images before, and also this view we created it in the last session. I think for this session we will start by learn more about how we can create a landmark list and row. Let me check. Okay, it might be taking some time. Let's go back for the documentation here. Section number 1, create a landmark model. Okay, in the first tutorial you hard-coded information. Okay, so we will hard-code the information into all of your customer view. You will create a model to store data that you can pass into your view. Okay, so we will hard-coded the information here. You can use complete project from a previous tutorial and the resource available from this tutorial file. To get started, you can copy item if needed. Okay, there are file JSON, which is landmark details in download file resources. Okay, let us to check here. He's trying to say for us that if we went inside downloaded file resources, okay, and there are landmark data JSON. Okay, so this is the hard-coded information that we will import, and he just trying to say to copy item if needed into your project. Okay, let me check here what he did. We will use this sample data through our tutorial here. Okay, so I think we will use our old demo here we already created last time. Is that what we will reach for? We will reach by the end of this tutorial for creating this list of landmarks, and when we try to click on it we will go for details screen, and we already created this screen before in a demo for SwiftUi. So let me return for a demo, and we want to drag and drop landmark data.json here. And once we did drag and drop for the JSON file, it will ask us to copy file to destination, and we need to confirm that the target is our project name, and we will click finish. So we already created this first step here by dragging and drop the file landmark details data.json inside our application. Okay, perfect. Step number 2, he's wants us to create new Swift file in our project, name it landmark.swift. Okay, let's take it, copy, and go for our project, create file new, and click. We already did this step before, file new and file from template, and we will choose Swift file this time, not SwiftUi view, and we will click next here, and we will start naming it landmark.swift. Create. Okay, so here we starting creating this landmark, and I think we will create the object for landmark in our project. Let's check together. So now what we did, we created new file and we called it landmark. Okay, step number 3, define a landmark structure with a view properties matching the name of some of keys in a landmark data. We didn't check what's inside the JSON file. Let us to go together here, okay, to check what exactly we have here. So we have array of landmark, and this containing name, category, city, state, and ID, is feature, is favorite, and park coordinates. So what he did here, he did create for structure, and this structure containing from these properties that we already have before inside our JSON data, and he marked this as codable to conform and make it easy to move the data between the structure and the data file. You will rely on decodable component of the codable, so we will try to use decodable from a codable protocol. That's why we already confirm for codable protocol here to read the data from the file. Okay, perfect. So let's take it, copy, and go for our project and paste it here. So by this way we will create the structure for a landmark and will confirm for codable and hageable protocol, and will include the different properties which we have already here in this JSON file, or if you are reading from API, so you need to meet the model there. Okay, perfect. Let's go for step number 4. The next view step will be to import an image associated with each landmark. Okay, so he asking us here to just drag a GPG file from a project file resource folder into your project assets. Xcode create new image sets for each image. Okay, that will be great. The new images join the one from this tutorial that will be added in previous tutorial. Okay, I'm not sure that we did add for that before, so let's go together and add them here. We can take it, copy, and paste it inside the assets. Okay, now we have all of these images inside our assets here, and let's go next. He already added it inside the assets, not the preview assets. Okay, we can take it copy also inside the assets here. If we want to use it inside the preview or we want to use it inside the assets. Let's go next and check step number 5 here. He did try to add image name property to read the name of the image from the data. Okay, he used computed property, so now we will use image name as a property to read it from the file that we have already, and we will create the image by using a computed property from the name that we will load from the JSON file. So we can take it also copy paste and go for the landmark object here and paste it. Okay, what next here? He referring here to the property. He did it private because the user of landmark structure care only about the image itself, so no need to give access for image name because he can direct access for image itself. Okay, perfect. Step number 6, you will manage information about the landmark location. So what he did here, he did add for coordinates, so he will read the coordinates from the file. Storage in the JSON file structure, we can confirm this information. Okay, so we need to add, I think we missed to add SwiftUi. We need to import here SwiftUi, import SwiftUi library, because now we have the image here, and we can go for landmark data. We will find that there are coordinates here object, so we can read it also, and we will do it private, same like an image, because the user will be more interested in the coordinate here. So let's copy and paste. Okay, so now we have private coordinates, and we have the structure for coordinate here. I think he already created it inside the structure. Okay, perfect. You mark this property as private. You will use it only to create public computed property in the next step. Okay, let's try to check what's the next step here. Okay, so I was looking for this variable because we already created this property as private, so we need to create a location coordinate for the user to take it copy, and for structure he created it inside this structure. Okay, to give definition for this type, which is coordinate. Let's go on. Finally, we will create array to initialize with a landmark from a file. So he will create another file which will represent array of this landmark. Okay, let's check here what is the issue. He couldn't find CL location to D dimension. Let's go back and check that we need to import core location. So let's go back and import core location. Yes, so now everything must be working fine. Control all Command I it must to re-intend your your file here. Okay, perfect. Let's go next. He did use here for CL location from a core location. That's why he did import for that, and he created it as a private variable because the user will be interested to use a location coordinate directly from this model. Let's go next to create a data model file and check how we can create it by click file, new, and file from template, creating Swift file and creating next, and we will write the file name here, model data, and click create next. We will import the foundation. Okay, perfect. Let's go next here. What's happened inside this file? He did load function, create load method, and to fetch data from JSON data and give name for application main bundle. Okay, the load method relies on returning a type conformance to decodable protocol, which is one component of codable protocol. Okay, so we need to take to call this function, we need to take model which conforming to decodable. That's why we created the landmark as a codable, to be able to parse the JSON file and decode it for this model. So let's try here to understand what this function will try to do. It will check if a file existing for specific names that we will give. I will try to check here the naming of the file is landmark data, so we will give a landmark file name, and that will check if a file is existing. So if not existing, couldn't find a file, will be showing as error, and in next way it will read the information as a data and will pass it, and here we will decode it using a JSON decoder, and we will return it as a decodable object. And here if a decoding failed, so we will return error for the application. Okay, let's import that inside our file here, which is data model. Okay, so what will be next here? We just did try to read the static data. Might be in the most common application you will read from network layer. And here he created array of landmark loaded JSON and just gave the file name for the. So now we created list of landmark here as a data, which will be static from, because we will read this information from the JSON file. And yeah, let's go next here and check what's going on. Before moving, group related file together to make it easy to manage your growing files. Okay, so he's starting giving us some tips and tricks regarding file structure. So here what we can do, we can read, he created some sort like views and models. Let's keep his structure and go with same structure. So what we will create here, we will create new group, and we will call it, oh no, it's not the right way to do that. Wait, what exactly we need to do here is to keep this new group inside, and we will rename it by click on name, and we will check the naming will be views or view, it will be views. Okay, so let's rename it for views, and we can create new group, new folder, and this one will be there are, let me check here, the difference between a group and folders. Okay, we already created this as a group. Let me start moving the files, like these two files inside the view, and let me show here view how we can check the file inside the project itself. So I want to check it inside show in Finder to check if we already created the file or not. So let's go inside here. So both of them will create for us folders. Okay, so if we create group or we create new folder, both of us will create for us folder inside our main project. Okay, so let's complete here. I think the second one will be model. Let's go back. Yeah, will be model. Let's rename this package name, and we need to take the data here inside the model by drag and drop it inside the model. Okay, so we created views, model, resources. Okay, and inside the resources we can put a landmark data. Okay, resources, and inside the resources we will put a landmark data. Honestly, that's why I'm forcing on that, because we need to keep track about the folder structure, because that's too much important when you're working on big project. Okay, so now we have models, and we have resources, and we have views, and we have an app. I want to just drag and drop it here. Okay, let's go next here. He did both for content view and circle image and the map inside the views group, and the landmark inside the resource. And yeah, I think we did same thing here. You can create by creating file, new group from selection. Okay, how you can do that? Okay, what he trying to mean to select both file, for example, and here you can create a new file from new folder or new groups from selection. It's based on the version for Xcode might be new folder from selection or new group from selection. It's based on what you have. Okay, let's go next and check. We already referring here for the importance of keep track about your structure. Second, we want to create this view will be our raw view for our list of landmarks. Okay, so what the first step here, first of all, if we did look for this design, we will found it like image and text and spacer inside horizontal stack. Okay, let's go, and now we know how to create custom view, so we can go alone without any help from the documentation by creating file, new, and file from template, and we can choose SwiftUi view and create next. And here we need to take it, copy which is the name of this new view, which will be landmark row.swift. Okay, and create next. We will find that we already created and did append for this new view. The name of this structure or view is landmark rows. Let me try to check what's the issue with the preview here. We didn't need to forget about preview because it's important if you will start the whole application with SwiftUI to keep track about the preview, to show for you your custom component at least. Okay, so let me check what's next here. We have, okay, he's starting by adding landmark as a stored property for a landmark view. When you add a landmark property, the preview in the canvas stop working because a landmark row type needs a landmark instant during initialization. What he did here, okay, he did declare for property, store the property, and what he told for us that once we created this object here, it will not start working in preview because we need to give and fix initializing because we need to give landmark. Okay, let's go next and see what he did next. He is starting by giving, because by the end of the day it's a structure and initializing need, if we did here and we did fix, we will find that he requesting from us landmark. Okay, and don't forget that we already declared landmarks and we can now use it by just mention the name of where is the model here, I think model data, and we called it landmarks, and this one will read from the JSON file. So now we have access for that, so I think we will keep the information here. So yeah, it's working fine now. What he told for us is just to give it the object. Okay, inside the preview macro, okay, he trying to referring for macro as the preview is a macro and the landmark property to be initialized. Okay, perfect, and he did select for first time. The preview display text here, but I think next we will change that. Okay, with that fix you can build the layout for the row. Okay, we already did build for the layout. What we will do here is to embed a text inside. How we can do that? If you can remember when we told before how we can show the inspector and we can embed in an HStack, or you can write it directly, but it's fine. We did use for what we already used before, and now the text have inside the HStack. Okay, and he did a change modify for the text to use landmark property, so we can also do same thing here. We can remove that and use the dynamic name for a landmark. Okay, so it start reading the first one. Let's go back, and also he's starting adding image and the spacer. Don't forget that when we are creating inside the object here for landmark, we did import for SwiftUI because we will return the image itself, so we can use directly from the object.image inside our view. So let's go and try it here. How we will do that? By using landmark.image. dot. If you want to do whatever next here, let's go back for the documentation. He did resizable, he used modifier, so let's keep track about what he did to resize and to frame the image to be 50-50. Okay, so we will call also frame for this view, and we'll give it height and width by click enter. It's still not, autocomplete is not working. Okay, so width is 50 and the height is 50. Okay, let's go back and check what he did next. So what we did here, we did resize for the image to be 50-50, and there are text and we can add spacer directly here. Okay, so we can add spacer. That's great. Let's check the result now. Spacer S must be capital. Okay, the image here is not visible yet. Let me check the JSON file here. For the first one, image name. Let me go for the asset and check what is the issue. The issue is that the name is not same. We are not able to find the name. I think also inside the preview there is nothing with the same name. Okay, what we can do is to change this name. I'm not sure if this is a mistake or not. Let me check which image. Yeah, I think it's same image, that's why might be the same image with wrong name. Okay, let me check now. So what we created now, we created custom row which called landmark row, and we built our view inside the body property containing from HStack, image and text and spacer, and we did resize and gave it frame to be 50-50. Now row is ready, so we can reuse that inside the list. Okay, what next here? Customize the row. Section number 3, customize the row preview.